Shalom, all praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to the elect. Ba'Shem Rachak V'dash. My name is Chicago from Plaintables Camp. It says they were both wrong. I think that he's going into the Sabbath. Let's see. Let's listen in.
I'll speak.
He rose on the first day of the week early.
No. He said at the end of the Sabbath. So if he's already
that doesn't say he rose at the end of the Sabbath.
Well, the first day of the week would be, the Sabbath would be the last day of that week for the new week to come in. So if the Sabbath was on a Friday, and it's actually Saturday, it would be Sunday would be the first day of the week, or the Christians say the Sabbath is on a Sunday, so the first day of the week would be a so-called Monday. Let's listen to some more.
Ends. Well, it ends and begins at even. All right. And Genesis says, in the even was the days, and one in Genesis 1:5, and the power called the day light, and the darkness he called night, and the evening and the morning were the first day. All right, and the evening and the morning were the third day, and the evening and the morning were the fourth day. So even is when it gets dark. So that's the end of the day and then the beginning when it gets totally dark. Arab, evening, night, sunset. So when the sun sets, it's nearing, and when it's totally night, that begins the next day. Evening. It says they were both wrong.
Okay.
And we got to make sure we take into account all four verses.
You have to slow down, vocab, because this is what it is. It's Friday, Saturday. It was probably, so you have to think about.
You don't count Friday. If he died, he gave up the ghost. This was the 3 hours of darkness. This was from 12 to 3. Let's say he gave the ghost. I got to go back to the scriptures at the exact time, but it was an ending. It was a going down. You were already in Friday, which you wasn't on the cross Friday because they didn't have Friday back there. Let's say he died on a Friday, it was definitely after afternoon, going into the evening. That's not the first day. If you rent a car and you get the car for one day, that don't mean you bring the car back the same day. You bring it back the next day. You have it for one day, the next day you bring it back. If you ever rented a car. If you rent a car for 2 days, on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, then Monday you bring it back. At least I think they do it that way at a car dealership. I rented cars for one day on a Saturday. I didn't bring the car back Saturday night because the place was closed. I brought it back the next day. If I got it at 12, some of them go by 12 noon on a Saturday, you got to have it in here 12 noon on a Sunday. That's one day. Okay? So here, she didn't understand what was going on, and he didn't understand what was going on. He going by that Christian bullshit. So she said first day, and she counted it Friday as first. No. A day starts, a 24-hour period is one day. So if he had gave up the ghost at 6 p.m., on one particular day, when do you go into the next day? Not when the bird's chirping. I mean, it goes into the next day, but a 24-hour period. That's a day. Let's look that up. Well, how many hours is in a day? A 24-hour period. Somebody says, you owe me this money, and I better have it. I'm gonna give you in the morning, and I better have it the next day. Now it could be a minute after that day. So let's deal with this again. He died on this day. Let's say it's Friday. Let's say it's Friday. The first day goes into Saturday. That's one complete day. The second day goes into Sunday. The third day goes into Monday. The scriptures say after 3 days. It said he would be in the heart of, just as Jonah was in the belly of the fish for 3 days and 3 nights, I shall also be in the heart of the earth for 3 days and 3 nights. So if he died on a Friday night, Saturday night, 1 day, Sunday night, 2 days, Monday night, 3 days. I'm sorry, let's deal with Friday. Friday at 6 o'clock. Friday, 1 day, and Saturday at 6 o'clock. Sunday, the next day, the second day, is Sunday at 6 o'clock. The third day is Monday at 6 o'clock. That's 3 days. The scripture said he would.
Right. So what the apostle going into, which he said clearly, that it's a 24-hour day or a 23 point whatever. It's a whole day. It's a whole cycle from the time he passed away. All right. So he said he would rest at 6 p.m. Friday. So it would be 6 p.m. Saturday. It's 1 day. 6 p.m. Sunday would be 2 days. 6 p.m. Monday would be 4 days. So after 3 days. All right. The scripture says after 3 days. So let's get that real quick. After 3, Matthew 27:63 says, saying, sirs, we remember that the deceiver said, isn't he talking to Jake talking shit? While he was yet alive, after 3 days, I will be risen, that the Son of Man must suffer many things and be rejected of the elders and of the chief priests and the scribes and be killed, and after 3 days rise again. All right, so G33, let me just type it out. G3326. Meta. After. Simply means after. Uses a preposition. So prep it. After 3. So let's look it up. This is Mark 8:31. Metatrace. Metatreas. Harmira. After 3 days, rise again. Anastania and anastami. All right. So after.
He would be in the heart of the earth for 3 days and 3 nights, 3 24-hour periods, 72 hours. 1 second or 1 minute or 1 hour after that 72 hours is going into the next day. So he can raise a second after the 72 hours. He has a complete 72 hours. So both of y'all were wrong. Let's listen to this again.
He rose on the first day of the week early.
No. He said at the end of the Sabbath. So if he's already
that doesn't
there.
say he rose at the end of the Sabbath.
Okay.
If you said he rose a day after the Sabbath, I know what she was trying to say. But she had no business being up there, being in a man's position.
We got to make sure we take into account all four verses.
You have to slow down, vocab, because this is what it is. It's Friday, Saturday.
No. Friday, one day comes to pass on this day. So you counted it wrong.
It was probably, so you have to think about.
She's going to say Sunday, and she caught herself. And during that time, you had an 8-day week, the Roman calendar. Now, they said that Julius Caesar, when he came up with the first Julian calendar, it had 8 days. If you do the research, it says, well, they changed it to 7 days, but they don't tell you who changed it. They didn't tell you what date they changed it, what year, what Caesar was in rulership. Now I looked it up the other day, sometime last week. It says 8-day, but they changed it to 7-day, but they don't mention during what time period in the Roman Empire, what emperor was in power at that time. Didn't tell you that. So guess what? I'm gonna go with the 8-day calendar. So if the Lord died on a Friday, Saturday is 1 day, Sunday is 2 days, Monday is the 3rd day. The end of that 3rd day, once that 3rd day is completed, then he would have to rise on a what? He would have to rise on Friday, Saturday 1, Sunday 2, Monday 3. He would have to rise on a Tuesday. But the first day of the week is based upon the Hebrew calendar. It was no Monday, it was no Sunday. It was the day after the Sabbath. Not the end of the Sabbath. She didn't explain. I know what she was trying to get at. She didn't explain it right. If you say the end of the Sabbath, you're still in the Sabbath. As the sun is going down, you're still in the Sabbath until the sun fully goes down. Excuse me.
And the evening and the morning were the 4th day. So it starts. So when the even comes in, that's a transition from the previous day to the next day. And then the morning, when the sun would rise. All right, still night. When it's an even, it's still night. All right. When it says morning, it's front like light. Bakar, daybreak, coming sun, rise, a beginning of day. All right. Also, it can also mean a beginning of day. Of beginning of day, of bright joy after night of distress, coming of daylight, the end of night. So the evening brings in the day, and then the morning, you also got afternoon, all right, and then the even completes the day. Then after evening the sun's totally set. That will be the next day.
You should have said a minute after the Sabbath, that's when that new day came in. So none of y'all know what you're talking about. Let's listen again.
It was on the first day of the week, early.
No. He said at the end of the.
So he's assuming that it's on a Sunday. If it's 8-day calendar, it would have to be a Monday, even a Tuesday. A minute into Tuesday, that's when he rose. But they didn't deal with Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. The first day of the week is based upon the Hebrew calendar.
The Sabbath. So if he's already there.
That doesn't say he rose at the end of the Sabbath.
Okay.
She didn't explain. She should have said after the Sabbath, a day after the Sabbath. When the Sabbath was completed, that going into the next day That's how she should have explained it.
And we got to make sure we take into account all four verses.
You have to slow down, vocab, because this is what it is. It's Friday, Saturday. It was probably, so you have to think about it.
You don't count Friday as the first day. That means if you rent a car on a Friday, you got to give it back. If you rent a car Friday 12 noon, you better give it back before 11:59. It better be back there 11. No, that's not one day. If you rent a car, you have the car. If you rent the car at 12 noon on a Saturday, for one day you expected to bring the car back 12 noon on a Sunday. So she counted the Friday as the first day, but she was off on that. They were both off. Anyway, let's move on. On to the next.